Ensuring growth, stability, and sustainability in agriculture, housing, and priority sectors is essential for a nation's resilience and sustainability. These areas not only yield immediate economic gains, but also establish a foundation for sustainable growth and improved quality of life for all citizens. While notable progress has been accomplished, the government acknowledges the importance of mobilized funding to sustain momentum and build a strong framework for future economic resilience. On 23 July 2018, issuance of Executive Order No. 58 series of 2018 with the consolidation and merger of Philippine guarantee programs and agencies was signed by the President of the Philippines, which took effect on 1 September 2019. This was the result of the policy revisit and direction of the Philippine government on credit guarantees in 2017. The Philippine Guarantee Corporation, or PhilGuarantee, is classified as a government financial institution, supervised by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP. On 18 May 2018, PhilGuarantee was awarded a Transparency Seal and Certificate of Compliance, which demonstrates its full compliance towards openness in access to government information. The Philippine Guarantee Corporation, being the principal agency for state guarantee finance of the Philippines, has been a forefront of providing financial guarantees through the provision of a dependable credit supplementation in a system of sustainable guarantees on priority areas, supported by mandates such as trade and investments, exports, infrastructure, energy, tourism, agricultural, business modernization, housing, MSMEs, and other priority sectors. Its mandate, mission, and vision are driven by the goal of becoming a robust and trusted state-owned enterprise that promotes inclusive growth and catalyzing economic development. PhilGuarantee aims to achieve this through accessible, reliable, efficient, and gender-responsive guarantee systems that facilitate credit in priority areas. Our institutional efforts are underpinned by a strong work ethic and core values of adaptability, resilience, integrity, sustainability, and enabled service. On 31 March 2019, Mr. Alberto E. Pascual was appointed as the new president and CEO of PhilGuarantee.
One of PhilGuarantee's impactful events in 2018 was the proposal to BSP on PhilExim's capital adequacy measurement relative to regulation. A series of consultation meetings with various institutional partners, such as Association of Development Financing Institutions in Asia and the Pacific, ADFIAP, Export-Import Bank of India, XEM India, and Asian Development Bank, ADB, were organized. For 2024, PhilGuarantee is in constant effort to foster collaboration, partnerships, and affiliations to the following: Asian Credit Supplementation Institution Confederation, ACSIC, Asian Exim Banks Forum, AEBF, Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, Inc., ICCPI, Philippine Exporters Confederation, Inc., PhilExport, and Association of Development Financing Institutions in Asia and the Pacific, ADFIAP, as it brings valuable access to global expertise, resources, and markets, fostering innovation, sustainable and economic growth. For 2025, PhilGuarantee is set to host the 33rd ACSIC training program in September. PhilGuarantee has demonstrated a steadfast commitment in its financing role during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. It has provided 37.5 million credit guarantee facilities to 22 accredited banks in support of the Economic Recovery Program, particularly to the MSME sector. On May 5, 2020, PhilGuarantee had signed separate agreements with 6 banks, namely Union Bank, BPI, BPI Banco, Malayan Bank, Banco Kabayan Inc., and New Rural Bank of San Leonardo, to assist MSMEs with loans totaling 10.2 billion pesos to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on small enterprises. In April 2020, The MSME Credit Guarantee Program, MCGP, was approved by the board to cover up to 120 billion pesos worth of loans by COVID-19 affected businesses. Following the Bayanihan Act, 2 of RA 11494, PhilGuarantee has approved an additional capacity jocked equity of 5 billion Philippine pesos fund.
In 2018, the majority of the credit portfolio was allocated to the guarantee program, representing 94% for 8.9 billion of the total portfolio. Most of this credit portfolio went to the industry sector. By 2019, portfolio guarantee facility amounting to 10 billion Philippine pesos was authorized to 8 banks: Sterling Bank, Maybank, PNB, Metrobank, Robinsons Bank, BDO Unibank, BPI, Bank of Commerce. On 25 February 2020, PhilGuarantee recognized its top 10 partner banks and developers for their significant contributions to housing finance. From 15 April to 15 July 2020, PhilGuarantee extended 5.5 billion Philippine pesos in credit guarantees to 35 partner lending institutions, benefiting over 31,000 agri-based workers. In 2021, additional 10.0 billion Philippine pesos retail guarantee facility under bond coverage for Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, while BDO Unibank, Inc. has an additional 20.0 billion Philippine pesos housing retail guarantee facility under bond coverage. In terms of the Agricultural Guarantee Fund pool, Land Bank of the Philippines has renewed the guarantee link at an increased amount of 1.5 billion pesos for a period of 1 year. On June 6, 2021, Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the 1,500-member strong Philippine Constructors Association, Inc., that strengthens the linkage of the PCA's MSME contractors with PhilGuarantee for the provision of credit guarantee programs to support their working capital requirements, especially during the pandemic period, was signed. Another key highlight on 25 January 2022 was the renewal of the SME Credit Guarantee Facility of BPI Direct Banco Inc., a savings bank, in the amount of 1.5 billion Philippine pesos at 50% guarantee cover. On 22 February 2022, PhilGuarantee granted Asia United Bank Corporation an additional 6.0 billion Philippine pesos retail guarantee facility under bond coverage and an additional 3.0 billion Philippine pesos guarantee facility for unsecured small housing loan. Also, China Bank Savings was granted with an additional 10 billion Philippine pesos housing retail guarantee facility under bond coverage. On May 5, 2022, DOTR, LTFRB also signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with PhilGuarantee for the expanded implementation of equity subsidy under Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program, PUVMP, to provide a sustainable, accessible, and equitable financing platform. On 28 April 2023, PhilGuarantee signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for the promotion of the Agricultural Guarantee Fund Pool, AGFP program in Coronadal City, South Cotabato. On 31 July 2023, PhilGuarantee signed a guarantee agreement with Center for Agriculture and Rural Development, CARD Inc. of 2.63 billion Philippine pesos to support financing opportunities and promote sustainable agriculture practices and drive economic growth in rural areas. For 2024, PhilGuarantee has intensified its efforts to enhance support for agriculture, housing, businesses, and sustainable initiatives through strategic partnerships and agreements. The corporation has successfully established 8 new partnerships. On 15 February 2024, a ceremonial signing agreement between PhilGuarantee and Esquire Financing Inc. was initiated to accelerate and increase financing for small entrepreneurs and businesses. On 25 April 2024, PhilGuarantee signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines Inc., ICCPI, to facilitate and promote business opportunities between the Philippines and Italy. On the 3rd of July 2024, BPI Direct Banco renewed its institutional partnership with PhilGuarantee to enhance its support towards the MSMEs, small farmers, and fisherfolk. On 11 July 2024, PHILGUARANTEE signed an agreement with iGlobal Financial Services to promote financial inclusion among small and medium enterprises, SMEs, through a grant of 500 million Philippine pesos in credit guarantee. 2nd of September 2024, PHILGUARANTEE and Philippine Economic Zone Authority, PEZA, signed a Memorandum of Cooperation and Understanding, MCU, to empower investors and drive trade development, aligning with government efforts to strengthen the financial support network across the regions. September 8, 2024, a ceremonial signing with Top Bank Philippines Inc. was conducted as a key step forward in efforts to increase access to affordable housing and initiate support in the housing finance sector of the 250 million Philippine peso housing retail guarantee facility. On 30 September 2024, Water.org also signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with PHILGUARANTEE to explore credit guarantees for financial institutions and small and medium enterprises, SMEs, involved in the water and sanitation sector. On 27 November 2024, a partnership through a guarantee agreement between PHILGUARANTEE and Oryx Metro Leasing and Finance Corporation was initiated to provide a stronger and more sustainable credit environment for micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs.